Hey, how's it going? Hope you are doing well today. My name is Qasim, and today I want to show you my iPhone setup. So whether it's my 13 mini or 13 Pro, both my iPhones have a single home screen setup, which has all my important apps organized into different folders, along with widgets that I find helpful for information that I'd like to see throughout my day. So I'm going to show you how I got this set up, the wallpaper I use, the icons I use, talk about a few organization tips, and maybe, just maybe, it can help you be more productive and efficient with your own iPhone setup. So right off the bat, I want to talk about apps and their placement on my home screen. So on my home screen, the center two rows is where I've placed all my different apps. So I've got smart home apps, business apps, finance apps, and these are all organized into different folders. But the reason they sit in the center is because whether I'm on my iPhone 13 mini or whether I'm on my 13 Pro, using my thumb, I can access any of these folders with just one tap. And that just makes it easy for me when I go to unlock my phone. I go in and I tap open the app that I need, and I'm in and out as efficiently as possible. So I love that. Now, none of the apps here are something that I'm going to be like, oh, this app is going to change your life. These apps are all basic apps, smart home apps, finance apps for checking my balances, stocks, etc. Then you've got business apps for my Shopify store, etc. So these apps are catered to me. But this right here is all I need to be efficient. Now, I would highly recommend that you go through all the different apps that you have on your iPhone and just filter them out, put them into categories, and put them on one home screen. One reason that this is going to help you is because when you have everything dedicated on one home screen, it's very easy to get to what you need, so there's no distractions. You're not going to be swiping through different pages to find apps because a lot of icons and colors, they tend to look the same. And so many times when somebody wants to show me an app, they're scrolling through their different home screens trying to find it. So in order to avoid that clutter, just simply go through all of your apps and organize them into folders and find out which ones are important enough that they can sit on this main home screen so they're always there and easy to access. The rest of my apps sit in the app library. So if I need any of them, I can simply scroll down, search it up, and be able to get to the app that I need. But majority of the time, 99% of the time, I'm using everything that is on this main home screen. Now next up, I'd like to talk about the widgets on my home screen. So right up top in the left, I've got the batteries widget. I love this one simply because I'm able to see the battery of my Apple Watch, my AirPods Max, AirPods 3, my iPhone, all simply at a glance. We used to have the battery percentage in the top right corner, but that's been gone for quite some time now. And having to scroll down from the top right to see that is annoying. So this way, I'm able to glance at this widget and see the batteries on not just my iPhone, but the different devices I own. To the right of the batteries widget is the activity widget. One of the reasons I love my Apple Watch is simply because it tracks all my fitness activity without me having to worry about it. At the same time, if I do start a workout, then I can go in there and start an outdoor biking session, outdoor walk, etc. But just being able to walk around throughout the day and have the watch tracking that, it's really, really nice. And to be able to see that on the home screen kind of keeps me motivated. For example, if I see I've made good progress throughout the day, then it makes me happy that I'm on track and perhaps I'll be able to close my rings. On the flip side, if I see that I haven't really moved, it encourages me to go do a workout or to move around a little bit more than I already have for the day. So now let's move on to one of my favorite widgets in the bottom left, which is the birthdays widget. And this widget here is actually a widget stack. So I've got two of them and I'll run through both of them. So let's start with the birthdays widget. This has become my favorite. I'm actually really good with numbers. I'm good at math, but for some reason, trying to remember people's anniversaries, birthdays, and any kind of special events is quite difficult for me. So what I've done is I've added all those events into this widget. And that way, any upcoming birthday, I'm able to see days ahead of time. And it just helps me realize that, okay, I've got a friend's birthday coming up or a friend's anniversary coming up. So for example, on my home screen today, I'm seeing that it's my friend's Bilal's birthday. So I already wished him, and I really like that. Now, what's cool is that when you tap on this widget, if there is a birthday or anniversary happening for that day, you can actually just message the person right from there, or just simply use it to keep track of their special events. So I like having that there because it just makes me realize and makes sure that I don't miss any of my friends or family members' important dates. Now I have this birthdays widget stacked with my Shopify widget. So what's cool about this one is that I can just tap this and it will show my sales at a glance without me having to go into the Shopify app. So that for me is really, really nice. Now in the bottom right is the last widget I have on my home screen, which is the weather widget. This is nice because you can tap on it and see your weather, that what you can expect for the day. So being able to know that you need a jacket or perhaps need to carry an umbrella is really, really helpful. So that's why I always love to have this here. Now below that we have our dock, and in the dock you'll see that my icons are a little bit customized, and I'm going to get into that very shortly. But I've got my phone, my messages app. Now for the music app, I actually use YouTube Music because I have YouTube's premium membership, which is a family membership, and it combines YouTube ad-free, YouTube Music, and that for me, plus the rest of my family, is a really sweet deal. And that's why I don't have Apple Music instead. So I've made that shortcut into YouTube Music. And last but not least, I've got Safari because I'm on the web quite a bit when I'm using my iPhone. Now next up, let's talk about the custom icons. I am going to put a link in the description for which icon pack I'm using, but there are tons of icon packs out there. This is just one I found online and I really liked its color scheme. Now these are customized using Siri shortcuts. So each time you actually press on this, you're running a Siri shortcut. And at that same link in the description, you'll be able to see how it is to actually go through and customize each of your apps with custom icons. Now, I will tell you that it takes a little bit of time, but as soon as you are done, it's going to be really nice because it gives your phone a custom look, a different look than everybody else's phone. And I think it blends in really nicely with the wallpaper I have, which is available on my website. This is a wallpaper of my own, and I love the color scheme. I love the artwork. It looks beautiful, and it works great with the custom icons that I have. So now that I have showed you my home screen setup, I want to take a moment to talk about organization, because organizing all the content in your iPhone is very much similar to organizing your desk setup, organizing your room. You've done it before, right? It feels great to have dedicated spaces for all the things that are on your desk, or knowing exactly which item is in which drawer in your room. It feels great. And doing so right here in your iPhone is going to really help you be more efficient and more productive. The amount of things that I do with my iPhone is absolutely amazing. Like, I seriously get a lot of work done with just my iPhone alone. Whether it's my 13 mini or 13 Pro, I'm able to get a lot done. And I quickly realized that I need to go through and organize things like my apps, notes, photos, and even notifications. So let's start with apps. Just going through all the different apps, the first thing that you're going to notice is you have a lot of apps that are probably just taking up space for no reason on your iPhone. For example, I still have 64 gigs available out of, or maybe it's a little bit less than that, but I still have majority of my storage available because I don't have unnecessary apps on here. All the apps, like I mentioned earlier, are on this main home screen. And by keeping things on this main home screen, it helps me not download unnecessary apps because I know that I have everything I need on this home screen. So when I do go to download an app, I'm like, do I really need this, or can I do without this app? Now let's move on to photos. Organizing photos is probably one of the best things that will save so much time that you can do for yourself. simply because you have been there, I have been there. You have a friend come up to you, they're like, hey, I want to show you this one photo from our trip in Hawaii, etc. And they open their Photos app and now they're scrolling because that photo is from maybe a week back or maybe a month back or 6 months back. And now they're looking for that specific photo and you're sitting there waiting and they are feeling the pressure that you were waiting, and it just is wasting a lot of time. So had he or she gone through and organized those specific photos into albums, then it would make their life really easy. So if somebody's birthday's coming up, if somebody's anniversary's coming up, whatever's coming up, I like to make an album for it. And on that day, any photos, any videos I take, I go through them the day after. So once the event is over, of course I'm not going to sit at the event and constantly put photos in albums. That's just rude, or that's just going to take away from me enjoying the event. So what I like to do is the day after, I actually go through all the photos and videos, and then I just put them in that dedicated album. So now if anybody comes up to me and they're like, hey, do you have any photos from Tommy's engagement? Well, yes, I do. I have them right there and then in that album, and I could share them or send individual photos over to anyone that needs it. So it just makes the process so much more simple. Now, apart from photos, there is one more thing that is worth organizing, which is your notifications. Now, I do a lot of productive things on my iPhone, and constantly being bothered by banner notifications, etc., from random apps or things that really aren't important at that time is just annoying. It's kind of like, let's imagine you sitting at your desk and somebody kept peeping through the door and being like, hey, so want to go to dinner? Hey, what are you doing Friday? Hey, what's going on Monday? So that can be annoying, right? So what I've done is I have gone through all the different notifications and I have turned off all the unnecessary notifications that come through on my iPhone. Now, you might be thinking that there's focus mode, which came with iOS 15, which allows you to have different focuses and has different home screens that you can set and notifications and who can interrupt, etc. But I had tweaked my settings so much before that I don't need the focus mode. Like I don't find myself using that because I've already changed around so many different settings that everything works perfectly and is organized perfectly the way I need it. Now, apart from organizing photos and your notifications, there's also notes. Organizing your notes can be really, really beneficial. Even a simple thing as a grocery list, what I'll do is I'll give it a title. Because I once went through my notes and I realized I had so many notes that just have random things written on it. And I don't even know what they were for. But I knew that they were so old that I could delete them. So what I've done is I've gone through and given my notes different titles based on the information that I'm storing in that note. So for example, let's say it's the credentials to a certain bank or anything important. I'll give that title at the top and then I'll put my username, then I'll put my password, and that's how I've gone through and organized different notes of mine. So something like a grocery list, I'll give it the title grocery list, I'll write the items in, and then what I'll do is, since it's not important, I'll just delete the list afterward. So that is something I do with notes specifically. It's nothing intricate. I know there are so many good videos on organizing notes and doing specific things, but this little tip works well for me and it keeps my notes organized and I don't have any trouble finding them at a later date or when I need them. So these few things, if you just go through and organize your iPhone, whether it's your apps, your photos, your notes, whatever you have, like this setup is dedicated to me. And if you think about it, our entire world, we have a virtual world that lives inside this phone. Think about it that when you leave the house, you'll forget your keys, but you'll never forget your phone. And if you recall, how many times have you actually left your phone behind? That's because there's lots of important things. Your entire life is actually in this device. And organizing that to work in a way that's efficient and makes things more productive is just so nice. It's so great. And it takes a lot of time. When I initially went through and I had to organize everything, it took me a lot of time. But at the end of it all, it's so simple. It's made everything so efficient, and it was so worth it. So I encourage you to take the time to not only do yourself a nice setup that is going to be catered to the kind of things that you need, but also to go through your notifications, your apps, and your photos and organize all of it, and you'll be so happy. So with that said, I really hope that in this video you were able to learn a few things that will help you going forward in terms of getting more productivity and being more efficient with the things that are on your iPhone. Thank you for your time. Take care, and I will catch you in the next video.